What's up, Driven by Growth family? Today is a special episode. Today I have the one and only, the amazing, the beautiful, the sexy, my future baby mama. I have my wife on the podcast. Today, babe, how you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, a little nervous, but I'm ready.
You're ready. It's Hannah's first time on a podcast ever. And so I'm grateful that you gave me the green light, not even the green light, but that you agreed to come on the pod
Of
and just
course.
have a conversation. So what I'm hoping today, babe, that we'll be able to share, or people will get out of this, is just hearing our story about how you and I met, your nutrition background and your passion for it, and how
Mhm.
that your passion for nutrition, how that stemmed to your nutrition business, and then also our Mas Vida juice bar. And then also just talk about marriage and relationship, what that's like navigating my family, your family, and our baby boy that's on the way. And this will probably be a two-part series, maybe a three-part series. There's a lot that we want to share that hopefully you'll get value from. So this will probably be a two-part, maybe three-part series about everything that I just mentioned. How's that sound, babe?
Sounds good.
So I want to start this way, babe. I want to start like our story. How did our story come about? How did you and I meet from your perspective?
From my perspective. We met through mutual friends. Our good friends Emily and Danny Sampaio. Shout out to them. Um, you and Danny go way back to high school, right? Yeah.
Yeah, even before
Basketball.
that, like middle school, like eighth grade.
8th grade. Me and Emily go back to like 1st grade. But I told her that I was kind of ready, interested in dating again, was looking for a good, godly man. Um, and her and Danny kind of started playing matchmaker. So I went to church with her one Sunday and she saw you talking to someone and she kind of pointed you out. She was like, "Oh, what about him? He's kind of cute." um, and I was like, "Yeah, he's cute." And then I think Danny reached out to you or came up to you and asked you if you were seeing anyone and then gave you my info.
Yeah, so sorry. My boy Danny, he I'm in the car and he knocks on my door, like my window, the driver window, and I put my window and I'm like, "Hey, what's up, bro? Like what's going on?" And he's like, "Yo, are you single?" I'm like, who's asking?" And that's when he told me that he has someone in mind for me.
Yes. And then I didn't hear anything. There were crickets for 2 weeks.
I kept it waiting, the anticipation.
And so I just figured maybe, it's not meant to be. But then you texted me. We set up a first date. We went to Blue Agave, which was in the Natick Mall. It no longer exists, but we went on our first date and then the rest was history.
The rest is history. We went on our first date. We went to a restaurant. It was located inside a mall. And then after dinner, which is funny because you had already eaten dinner. Like you ate something,
Well, it was like
right?
8 p.m.,
And
9
I ate
p.m.
something already. So like we weren't really hungry. So I think we just ate like an appetizer or something. But then after that, we went to the local bar.
Bourbons.
Went to a place called Bourbons and had a drink and there was music playing and it was a vibe. Neither Hannah and I drink anymore. Not against it. We're just not for us. Bible says just don't get drunk. But so that's how we met.
Oh, what's your variation of that story?
Yeah. So I mean, my part of the story is just Danny knocked on my window and was like, "Are you single?" I'm like, "All right, who's asking, bro?" And then I told him, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm single." He's like, "Well, are you ready to date?" He's like, "I think so." He's like, "Well, Emily." So Danny and Emily, they're married, and as Hannah said, she grew up with Emily since first grade. I've known Danny for years. He and his older brother and me and my older brother used to play basketball at the local YMCA. We used to cook them on the court. Danny and David, if you see this, it's all love. But Danny was like, "Yo, I got someone for you," and he gave me your number. And well, and then he gave me your name, of course. And I looked you up
Mhm.
on Facebook to see. I had to see, what she was working with, and I liked what I saw. But babe, it was funny because we talk about this where you still had photos from like your ex on your
Oh,
Facebook.
I'm gonna bring that
I
up.
will bring it up. It's cool. I think we're over it at this point. But
Yeah.
he looked like he was the opposite of me, right? I'm brown. I'm Puerto Rican.
Surfer bro.
He was like, he looked kind of like a surfer bro. And I'm like, wait, she's interested in me? Like something's not adding up. But anyways, that was interesting because I saw that. I'm like, wait, Danny, you sure she wants me?
That's why you made me wait 2 weeks.
That's not why. But I had to. Not looking back, I'm like, why did I have you wait 2 weeks? Didn't make a whole lot of sense. But in my
Mhm.
mind, right, I was like 23 at the time. No, 24.
Yeah, something like
6
that.
years ago, 2019. So I was 24, and it was just and my lack of or little wisdom that I had, I thought, or a little game that I had, I thought that if I kept you waiting, it would mean like the anticipation. Like if I keep her waiting, she's probably thinking, is he gonna text me? Is he not? But it did work because you were thinking that, right?
It did, yeah.
And here we are, 6 years later, about to have a baby.
Mhm.
So okay, that's our story. That's how we met. And I kind of want to talk about a little bit more about you and like what your passions are and what you enjoy. I know one of those things is health and wellness. I know you went to school for nutrition to
Mhm.
be a nutritionist. What led you to that route? Like, what was it that made you want to be like, you know what? I want to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
I think it started, like, in my childhood. My mom is/was a nutritionist. So, like, growing up in a household where she tried to, like, enforce healthy eating habits and just seeing her do what she did, I always thought it was really interesting, and I used to go to work with her sometimes. And I also just always loved food. I was like, "This is a career that I can do that
Yeah, she's a big foodie.
involves food, but also helping people." So, I think it started there, and I've just always known that I wanted to do something that involved helping others, whether that was, like, in the healthcare space or not, but that's where it started.
So your mom was a nutritionist. So you
Yes.
helped me a ton. I remember when we first met, I was on like the typical gym bro diet, right? Where I was a bachelor, my brother and I, my older brother Emerson and I just it was just he and I. We had our own place. And the typical like get takeout at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. There was a Brazilian joint near like I don't know what, 2 minutes from my old place
Mhm.
that I used to go in and get picanha, get rice and beans and all that good stuff at like 10:30 at night. And right, I was just rice, chicken, and maybe a vegetable, or like steak, rice, maybe a vegetable. And baby, I remember it was like the year before. Maybe I was 23 or 22. I was probably 23 the year before I met you. I had just finished playing like college basketball, and I didn't have to train for anything
Mhm.
for the first time in I don't know a long time. So I went off the wall. Me and my buddies, like shout out to my buddy Carl. We would go to Wendy's after
Mhm.
church. And back then we were going to a Pentecostal church, Hispanic Pentecostal church. So there was church like 5 days a week. So at least 3 times a week at nighttime after service, we're going to Wendy's and getting takeout. But it wasn't until I think you and I got together that you helped me to change my eating habits
Back to what they were before.
back to what they were before, which before it wasn't great just because there wasn't a lot of veggies or like fruit in my diet,
Mhm.
but it was much less takeout, I feel like, just because you helped me with that.
Yeah. Well, I think also we didn't do a lot of takeout growing up or, like, even in high school. We would get takeout maybe, like, a couple times a month. We always had food at home. Like, my mom was always cooking at home, so I think that's where that started from too. But I was the opposite. I had a terrible diet in high school. I lived on, like, pizza and ice cream and butter pecan iced coffee from Dunkin'
Didn't you
Donuts
get Taco Bell too,
and
like
Taco
during
Bell.
lunch in high school?
Yes, I did. So it wasn't until I started going to school for nutrition and learning about it that I changed my habits and started eating more like balanced meals. So it wasn't always that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you telling me that you used to go to Taco Bell like every day for lunch.
Yeah, Crunchwrap Supreme.
I never had a Crunchwrap Supreme. I used to get the tacos though with the soft shell.
Yeah,
So far. Or the tortilla. So good.
it's good until you learn what's in it.
Yeah, and it's like not even real food.
Yeah.
But okay, so then you did that. You went to school, you went to college, studied
Hmm.
nutrition. Later on, fast forward, you became a health coach.
Yes.
What sparked that?
Well, I didn't do the dietetic route. I did nutrition and wellness. So I didn't end up doing my internship and becoming a dietitian. So I wanted to do a little bit more. I was working for WIC, which is like a nonprofit organization as a nutritionist. Um, but I thought I might want to do something on my own. So I did an online course to become a health coach. And it started there. I didn't do a whole ton with it at first. I did the certification. I was ready to start helping people, but if I'm being honest, I got a little overwhelmed with the whole like starting your own business side of things, and I didn't really know where to start. So, definitely doing more of it now.
I want to touch on that because something I talked about in an episode, I forget what episode it was. We talked about how planning can just be procrastination in disguise. And like I remember you sharing how you were planning on being a health coach, planning on starting a business, but
Mhm.
there was something that like prevented you from just going all in and letting people know about you and about what you're doing, the services you're offering. Why do you think that is? Like, what do you think it was that you got your health coach certification? You're excited, something that you're passionate about, but yet you still didn't go forward with it, or you didn't go full force with starting your own business?
Just the lack of experience. Like I didn't know anything about starting a business, about being like my own boss. Would have had to build a website, find clients, promote things on social media, like all things that just weren't super familiar or comfortable to me. So it was more so just like not knowing where to start. I think that's why I kind of put it on the back burner for a long time. But
Yeah. Yeah, and I can relate to that too, babe. Like I talked about before in one of the episodes is that like I wanted to, you know this. You're actually the one that pushed me to start this podcast.
mhm,
I wanted to start this podcast 3, 4 years ago. And in fact, I started a podcast with my good friend, one of my best friends, a year and a half ago, maybe almost 2 years ago.
mhm,
And it just the logistics were a little too much and like learning how to do everything right, learning how to edit, learning how to record, like all that stuff. It just became I don't even wanna say too much. It just was not an investment that he and I were willing to make to learn how to do it. But I know I've talked to you about this a ton, and I've annoyed you with it, but it's
mm,
the concept. This is from a book. It's called Who Not How, where oftentimes when we get stuck on something, right? You wanted to start the health coaching business. I wanted to start this podcast. And we get stuck because we're thinking, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I learn how to edit videos? How do I learn how to use this camera? How do I learn how to connect this mic?
mhm,
As a versus thinking who can help me start this podcast, who's already good at editing, who enjoys videography. Instead of thinking that way, I was thinking I got to figure it out, I got to do it on my own. Whereas if we change our mindset to our framework from I got to do it to who can help me do this,
mhm.
it can it can eliminate a lot of that, the delay of getting started. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think also just like doing something, just starting. Because you talked about the podcast for a long time, but there was also a lot of preparation stuff you wanted to do before you actually started. I'm like, well, why don't you just start?
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just recording it on your phone, whatever. I think that was the problem with me. I got overwhelmed with all the stuff that I should be doing to prepare to make it perfect, like promoting on social media, building a website, all these things that you don't necessarily need before you actually just dive in and start. Instead, I just didn't really do anything because I got overwhelmed with all the stuff that I thought I was supposed to do before. Sometimes just starting, even if you don't have all the things that you think you need prior to.
Yeah, just you might not know what your next 3 moves. There's a book. It's I really like the guy who wrote it, the author. He has a big podcast. It's called Your Next 5 Moves. And I like the premise of the book where he's like, you got to think 5 steps ahead. And I think that's great. Like it's cool. However, and it's strategic, it makes sense. However, you don't always know like what your next 5 steps are.
Mhm.
But I think most people know what their next step is. And if you just take that next step, it'll lead you to know what the second step is. It's motion creates momentum. Whereas I think a lot of us, myself included, I was just waiting for like momentum to happen. Oh, the podcast is kind of just it's just gonna happen and it's gonna take off and this and that. And it's like, well, no, you actually gotta start
Mhm.
and start somewhere. So what advice would you give to someone who maybe it's not nutrition or a nutrition business, but it's something that they're passionate about, something that they want to start, but they're hesitant to start? What advice would you give them?
Just start. I don't know. Like make a if it comes down to the fact that you're just overwhelmed with all the stuff that you think you need before, maybe just make a list of all those things and just kind of like gradually check them off. And like you said, find people to help you. So like who can support you in the process of starting so that you don't feel like you're doing it alone or don't feel overwhelmed. And just take one step towards the direction of what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I would say too. I think everything, yeah, seems like daunting until you start it.
Mm-hmm.
Like starting a podcast, even this, like having you on, you're like, I don't know, let's do it next week or like next time. Hannah literally texted me. I was like, babe, you want to be on the podcast today? She was like, would you be upset if I said I can be your second guest, not your first? I was like, no, I won't be upset, but like you can do this now. You're okay. And I think I agree. It's I don't like the anticipation of doing the thing
Mm-hmm.
that seems so scary. I remember even just starting like you starting your health coaching business. So Hannah has a health coaching business where she helps people with they're just making healthier choices and nutrition and all that good stuff. And I remember you just being so like excited but anxious at the same time and
Mm.
feeling like everything has to be perfect. Like, well, no, I have to make my programs, my offer has to be perfect. The
Mhm.
graphic needs to look amazing. I got to have my numbers down. I got to make sure what my numbers are comparable or my prices are comparable to the market. And I remember you doing that and putting in that much work. And I'm like, babe, this is great. This is awesome. And those are things that need to happen. But I remember saying something along the lines of like, babe, that's awesome, but just text the people that you have in your phone. Like text all the people in your contacts and say, hey, I started my nutrition business, my health coaching business. If you or anyone you know is interested, like send them my way. And I remember that being scary for you. Why was that?
I don't know. I think it's uncomfortable and it's like outside of my comfort zone. Um, I don't know. I don't really have an answer. It was just like not something I was used to doing. Like I've only really ever worked for someone else. I've never had my own business where I am like the one taking all the action steps and doing all those things. Maybe like a little bit of fear of rejection too. People either don't respond or they're not receptive to it, but it's really not as scary as you think it is.
I think that's what it was too. And even for me, to a certain extent, in the past, where it was, I would say, not necessarily fear of rejection, but of like you're just being vulnerable of like, hey,
Mhm.
I'm starting this thing. Would you support? And not even necessarily like purchasing from us or whatever it is that I'm selling or offering, but like you telling people that you're starting something and not knowing what the reaction might be or the
Mhm.
response of like, oh, you're starting a little business, oh, that's cool. Or like, wait, you're starting a podcast? Oh, okay. Where I think people's opinion can sometimes or oftentimes deters people from starting whatever it is, whether it's their health journey, right? And like,
Mhm.
hey guys, I'm gonna lock in and get healthy. Maybe they're afraid to let people know about that because one, there's gonna be some sort of accountability attached to it, but two, they're not sure what people's response is gonna be.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think one of the guys that I really like listening to, not so much as of recent, but in the past, was Gary Vee. A lot of you guys, if you don't know who Gary Vee is, he started a media company, and you look him up online, you'll know who he is. But he just talks about how you're so focused on not starting what you want to start because of what people might think of you, but in reality, no one's thinking of you.
Yeah, it's valid.
Or
Mhm.
they might see your post of whatever your offer is. Hey, I just started a health coaching business, and they might see it, scroll up, and say, "Oh, that's cool," or they might see it and say, "Oh, that's dumb," and then scroll up, and then they completely forgot that you started what that
Mhm.
post just said. And before we started recording, we were talking with Lauren about like attention spans and how attention spans have changed. Like,
Mhm.
or we're all
Yeah,
overstimulated,
overstimulated.
and someone might see your post, but then right after, 5 minutes later, they saw 100 other posts and they forgot about your post. So it's just this concept or this idea of just do the thing,
Mhm.
regardless of what people might think. And fortunately, like we've been blessed with amazing people in our circle where like we've had a bunch of support and people just like encouraging us and stuff.
Mhm.
But not everyone has that.
Yeah, it's true. We're blessed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're blessed. So what has been the hardest part of us owning our businesses or owning our business together and individually? And how do we overcome that?
I would say more so together. I think we work really well together, but we're also two different separate people with different ideas and different ways of thinking. So I think that's the biggest thing or biggest challenge is like you might have a certain thought process on something and mine might be completely different. And we have to kind of problem solve and figure out a middle ground. And I don't just like all the moving parts that come with starting a business. Like we had to go through our branding, what our goal was, what we want our website to look like the financial side of things. There's just all these parts that we have to agree on. So I would say that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question?
No, and just the second part was how do we overcome it? What I would say though to that is, I remember when we first started, my thought process is just go get sales. I enjoy talking to people. I believe in what we're offering. So we offer nutrition coaching. From Hannah, we offer juice cleanses. It's a juice bar, right? Like organic cold pressed juices, smoothies, wellness shots, all that good stuff. I stand by our product. I believe in it. We consume it ourselves. And so for me to tell people about it and like sell them on it, not even sell them on it, but sell them product, that was my main focus. Is I want people to know about what we're doing. But I remember you were like, babe, you can't keep getting all these sales because we got to organize and get our accounting right, and we got to make sure we know what the margins are and all this good stuff. And like you're right, absolutely, we got to know that stuff. But my mindset was just go sell some stuff, go make it happen, and then we'll figure the stuff out later. I'm sure some of you listening to this podcast might your wiring might be more like mine, where I'm like, yo, just go make it happen. Whereas you're a little more analytical and you're like, all right, let's get things organized and then let's go do the thing.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
I think it just makes me feel better. I don't know. It made me feel better before we just like launched, knowing that we were organized and like we're doing things the right way. Whereas you were, I don't know, you were just ready to kind of start and jump in, which is good.
Yeah. So there's no right or wrong. My thought process was just proof of concept, right? For some of you guys, folks wanted to get into business or are in business or have an idea that you think can be of service to people, is get proof of concept. Many people can tell you, yes, you should definitely start that business, right? If you're a good baker, people might say, oh, you should sell your cookies because your cookies are so good. Like sell them. And that's cool. But then someone will go and start a business based off of what someone told them about the quality of their cookies. But then if you start the actual baking company and you're making cookies and you offer that same person, hey, want to buy some cookies from me? And they're like, no, I don't. It's like, wait, but they were good in, like, weren't they really, you told me that I should start a business. So, because my cookies are good. So the point I'm making is get proof of concept, get a few people to buy the cookies. And now you know, all right, the cookies are pretty good. People want to buy them. Maybe I can scale and grow this. What's a process for us that works, babe? If we have, like, you see something a certain way, I see something a different way.
What do you mean by process?
Not even a process, but how do we process that? If you have a certain opinion on something, whether it's business or something else, and then I have a different opinion, how do we usually
like navigate that?
Yeah, how do we navigate that?
I think we both are just open to hearing each other's thoughts and ideas and make sure we just listen first before being like, I'm right, you're wrong. I don't know. I think our personalities too are both like pretty level headed and calm. So we're usually good at coming to a mutual decision. Sometimes I just trust that you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing. So I just kind of.
And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. But we figure it out. We talked about just take the next step. Like, what's the right next step? And yeah, I would say that's really how we navigate it. We communicate. I know you hear that often about how do you keep a marriage going, and it's communication. If she sees something a different way, I see it a different way. Honestly, I don't even say I disagree. I just say, babe, I see it differently. Because my thought is, when you say I disagree, you're already shutting down their opinion. So I just say, babe, I hear you. I just see it a little differently. And honestly, sometimes we just go with what the best answer is. Like, if it's something decor oriented or relating to the baby, Hannah's done hours of research and she has a much more, not even much more, but like, you're good with interior design. You're good with, like, you know what you want for the baby, what stroller and car seat. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, babe. Whichever one you think is best, let's go with that.
Yeah,
So we
that's
also
true.
have our things that you're naturally better at and things that I'm naturally not even better at, but
Just our strengths.
just our strengths.
Yeah.
We each have our strengths, and I think we just lean on each other based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I have my beautiful wife, Hannah, here on this pod. There's so much more that we want to talk about, so much more we want to cover. We'll do it in a future episode. Until then, be blessed. This is Driven by Growth Podcast with Brandon Portillo, my beautiful wife, Hannah, and baby Levi that's cooking in the oven. Peace.